What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I know what you're looking for. You saw the title, you saw the thumbnail. I've got 6 very specific fragrances from Lattafa that are perfect for the fall and winter. We've got 5 for the fellas and 1 specifically for the ladies and or the fellas that don't mind a slightly feminine leaning leathery gourmand. Very specific fragrance. I haven't worn it much. My wife's only worn it twice, but she seems to really enjoy it, and I felt like it was worth talking about. It's a new release from this year. So we've got 6 in total. They save you some money, perform really well, and smell really good. Kind of hard to beat, right? So let's talk about them. Stay tuned. Starting with one that I would consider very unisex. Now, for those of you that have something like Paris Corner's Care Pistachio, going to be too redundant. But for those of you that like Yum Pistachio Gelato, you'll probably like Affection from Lattafa. It is definitely in the same vein. It is their twist on the DNA. And it is a bit creamier, I gotta say. It's not as bright, fresh, and airy as something like Care Pistachio. I actually did a comparison video between the two. If you're looking for a more creamy, sweet type of pistachio gelato fragrance, kind of has that whipped cream cotton candy thing going, nice and sweet, hints of spice and mint with some florals. The note breakdown will tell you one thing, but it definitely walks a very similar path to Care Pistachio and Yum Pistachio Gelato. This is really good stuff. Admittedly, a really good fragrance. You gotta like these ice cream-like fragrances, if you will. Candy, sweet, gourmand, sweet treat type of stuff, which I'm not always a huge fan of. I don't wear a lot of gourmands, but certain ones, mainly this profile in general, I do enjoy. I think it's a fun fragrance for just a fun night out, especially in the cooler weather. Something like Lattafa's Affection will get the job done. Do you like sweet, creamy fragrances that have a nice thickness to them, maybe a little bit of peppered spice? You'll probably like fragrances like Vintage Radio from Lattafa. Obviously, I think the actual Vintage Radio, if the bottle looked more like the actual Vintage Radio that's on the front of it, I think it would have made for a better bottle. I mean, it is what it is. The bottle's not that important, but the fragrance. It has this creamy, lightly smoked, chocolatey, vanilla, woody type of thing going on. There's some fruitiness to this. Again, a hint of spice, but it's more of a sweet, creamy fragrance overall. I want to say it's cacao. It smells like cacao. I could be tripping, but it smells like cacao. A little bit of this chocolatey meets vanilla type of smell going on. Another one that I wouldn't call a straight up gourmand. There's gourmand elements to it, but there's other elements that kind of just ground it and give it some density and depth. Like I said, some woody nuances specifically. I'm a fan. I don't think it's their absolute best fragrance, but I know there's a lot of people that are big fans of this one, and it's one that I still need to spend more time with as well. I've just been waiting on the right weather because I did grab it in the spring. Not the best spring fragrance, but cooler fall days on into the winter, that's where this one is going to shine. Even in the daytime, totally works fine in the daytime on those cooler days. Performance is no issue with any of these fragrances if you're looking for strong performers with some real bang for your buck. Lattafa is probably a good brand for you to look into, and fragrances like Vintage Radio for you sweet fragrance lovers, it's definitely a good one. Now, this is a personal favorite of mine. I've been waiting on the weather to cool down. I do prefer it to its original. We're talking about Lattafa's Khamrah Cawa. This is everything that was good about the original, plus a nice roasted coffee smell that doesn't completely mute the sweetness. I think it balances the sweetness, because Khamrah, over the top sweet, not as spicy, not as boozy, kind of walks the path of an angel share. It doesn't really smell exactly like angel share. Whereas this, you get a little bit of that similar sweetness, that almost crystallized marshmallowy coconut smell that I've always gotten from the original is still here. Even though they don't list that in the notes for Khamrah, I've always gotten that from the DNA. I still get it here. It's nice and sweet, has that heavy benzoin that almost gives it this effervescent boozy tone to it. Just a warm, sweet, roasted coffee type of fragrance with immense power. This is a less is more fragrance. You don't need much to fill rooms and last all day long. This is a certified beast. Now, if you have the original Khamrah, is it redundant? Very much so. It's literally that fragrance plus a coffee note. It smells that simple of a change. Like they just took that, blended some coffee into it, and put it in a bottle, and here you go. I do think it's better, but if you have Khamrah, super redundant, you don't need it. But if you don't have either, this is definitely the better one to go with, in my opinion. It's Khamrah Cawa. Now, as far as that ladies fragrance I was speaking on, we're talking about Teriaq from Lattafa. This is a 2024 release. This is like a syrupy caramel type of smell. It's a honey caramel fragrance, some fruity nuances, but a nice leathery backbone. That's what really keeps it from being too feminine. Even though it's technically marketed for women, it might be marketed for as unisex. I could have swore it was marketed for women, but either way, it's not as feminine as you may think, mainly because of these leathery facets. They have a leather note, they have labdanum, the cistus labdanum, that adds to that leathery nuance. It's more of a soft, supple brown type of leather. And the main notes that I get from this one, you're going to get this fruitiness from apricot, and you're going to get caramel and honey, and a lot of caramel and honey. You have to be into that stuff, which my wife is a huge fan of caramel. I prefer the honey note. Mix them together, you get this almost like caramel syrup type of stuff. You know what I mean? Oh my God, I'm not a big gourmand guy. It is syrupy, it is delicious, but it's even better on my wife. This is my wife's type of jam. That's why I wanted to include a women's fragrance, something I prefer to smell on my woman versus myself, that I do enjoy, just not as much on me. Guys, you might want to look into this one. It is a new release from towards the beginning of this year, and it's already really, really cheap. I think it's sub $30 at this point. It's been a little bit since I looked. And it's a monster performer. It's delicious smelling on a lady, I have to say. My wife's worn it twice recently since the weather has been a bit milder. We've had a lot of cooler days. And I'm telling you, it was because of it, it made it so noteworthy. I was like, yeah, I got to feature that one for the fall and winter. So guys, if you're looking for that next steal of a deal, bang for your buck fragrance to smell on your lady, see if she likes this one because it's damn good. It's Teriaq from Lattafa. Now, for those of you that are vanilla lovers, vanilla is life for a lot of people. I get it. We're talking Bade'e, Honor and Glory, still one of their best releases ever. This is turmeric mixed with pineapple. You get this spicy, woody, fruity, sweet type of, it's a pineapple, vanilla, woody fragrance at its core. Get a little bit of elements of Ani to this one, Nishane's Ani, that type of vanilla and woody nuance. It smells like that particular blend without smelling exactly like Ani. Again, you get pineapple, the turmeric gives it a little bit of like this spice that goes with the woody notes. Beautiful. Pineapple upside down cake kind of stuff. It's very delicious. I know I'm featuring a few gourmands here because this is some of the few that I enjoy the smell of, because I would say it's probably 2 to 3 handfuls of fragrances that I would consider very gourmand that really tickle my fancy, if you will. This being one of them. I think this is one of Lattafa's best fragrances they've ever put out. Great performer, perfectly unisex. If anything, some may disagree with me. I think because of the spices and the enhanced woodiness, I think this actually leans a little more to the masculine side than the feminine side for a gourmand. Personally, I'm sure some will disagree because that's part of being in the perfume community. People just want to disagree with each other. They don't like to. They just really want to. It's weird. But the fragrance itself is phenomenal. If you like vanilla and you're like big on vanilla, again, hashtag vanilla is life, right? For some people, then that makes this a must try for you. Is it a direct clone of anything? Not that I'm aware of, but it smells like a blend of a variety of different fragrances that it'll remind you of, and it's just damn good and a real bang for your buck, good value for your money. It's Bade'e, Honor and Glory. Last but not least, super cheap hype beast, Lattafa Asad. I mean, it's just, 'tis the season. It's the time of year to talk about this one. Pineapple and coffee added to Sauvage Elixir, basically. They list iris. I don't smell iris. I'm not saying they don't have a synthetic iris oil in here. I just don't smell it. But I do get a little bit of this fruity freshness at the top, and I do get a little bit of the coffee smell that adds this darker feel to it for the overall hefty, warm, spicy, woody, aromatic feel of a similar tone to Sauvage Elixir. In no way is this a carbon copy of Sauvage Elixir, but it will give you a similar feeling. It does have a strong relatability to it. It performs phenomenally, and it's really cheap. There's a reason this stuff has had a ton of hype, and there's some people that hate it specifically because it's had a ton of hype, and they want to hate it. But then there's those that love it and appreciate it, and I stand in that camp where I think for the money, pretty hard to beat. Is it as good as Sauvage Elixir? No, I don't think so. But at a fraction of the cost, this is better than just good enough. This is like a really good option. Again, it's got some different nuances to it as well. It's not even the same fragrance. Great for this time of year is Lattafa Asad. Well, that's the 6 that I wanted to discuss with you guys today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. So I do appreciate all the feedback. Love hearing from you guys. Of these 6, what do you have? What have you tried? what are you interested in getting? I'll try to have them all linked down below, both through YouTube if available, with places like FragranceNet and such. And you always can find some good fragrance buy links down in the video description box. Give you a few different options if you're interested in checking them out. I don't encourage you blind buying, but reality is we all do it. So try to do it make it as educated of a move as you can if you're going to go that route. But yeah, these are some good ones. They'll definitely be in and out of my rotation from time to time throughout the remainder of the year as the weather gets cooler and cooler. So once again, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.